Welcome to another episode of the RV Voice. Today, like I said last time, or one of these few times, I'm just mixing and matching here. We are on a transition into catering to not only full-timers, but to anyone that's interested in RVing. That being said, we have an interesting topic today. The topic today is RVing with kids, how to make it fun and stress-free. Not 100% stress-free because I can't guarantee that. What up, y'all? Today's episode is brought to you by RV Fix. Let's walk through a quick scenario. You're on your RV trip that you've been planning for months and bam, something goes wrong. Slide won't move, fridge quits, the power's out. Now, instead of cracking open a cold one, it's fixing time. Total buzzkill, right? That's where RV Fix comes in. Call 1-844-66-RV-FIX and get connected via video call with a master RV technician. No middlemen, no dealership runaround, just real help, fast. And over 40% of these issues are fixed on the first phone call. If it's more serious, we've got you. We'll order parts and get warranty approval within hours, not weeks. Then we can either ship the parts to you and walk you through the fix on a second video call, send a mobile tech from our 2,000 plus tech network, or have you drop it off at the dealership once everything's ready to roll. And even better, you get to keep your rig during this whole process. No more waiting 4 to 6 weeks for basic repairs. With RV Fix, most shop fixes are done in just 3 days. Skip the stress, call RV Fix, and get back to camping, relaxing, and making memories. Use promo code RVVoice at checkout to get a 60% discount and lock in your price for years to come. Learn more at rvfix.com. Hope you enjoy this episode. But anyway, we're going to be talking to some full-timers today because they're the experts. They do this all the time. Why not listen to someone who does it all the time, right? Anyway, they're about on their first year Nomad anniversary. They're coming up in about June-ish to that first year, 1 year. And they've been traveling around in a 2011 Keystone Raptor with 2 kiddos and a dog. But anyway, today we are talking about RVing with kids. And if you've ever wondered, can this actually be fun? The answer is yes, and we're going to show you how. Well, they're going to show you how. They're going to tell you how. But anyway, this is today we're going to be covering sanity-saving hacks, some favorite road games, maybe ways to involve the kids, and how to make unforgettable memories without losing your mind. So welcome, Christa and Phil with We Are the Portos. Thank you so much for being here.
Hi.
How was the intro? Did I do okay?
That was great. That was perfect. I loved it.
Awesome. I kind of just wing it every time. It's like it's one of those things like, what am I going to say? What am I going to say? It just kind of falls out.
Yeah.
So hope I do okay.
That's how I communicate too. Just open my mouth and whatever comes out, comes out.
That's true.
It's not always good. Kind of got to go like this to bring it back to where I'm supposed to be, you know?
Yeah. Or like in a situation like this, our hands are like underneath the desk so we can like grab the knee and be like, hey, that's not it.
Hey, bring it back.
I'll be like, why are you tapping me?
Reel it in.
Awesome. Well, let's kind of start with you guys' background, Phil and Christa. I don't know where you guys are from. I know, Phil, we met down in Tampa for a short minute. You kind of you bumped into me somewhere at the first day. I was so nervous to be there. I'm a very outgoing person, so it was like, I don't know why I was so nervous, but it was like something totally out of my wheelhouse. I don't go to stuff like that. I'm not that person. But anyway, I got invited to it, so I went. And so we chatted a little bit there, but I don't know your background and your story and your RVing. So let's start about where you guys are from, how you guys met, I guess, then. And then we're talking like your journey into the full-time life and why you decided to do so.
Okay. I'll start because I'm the older one. So I'm a city boy.
That's the thing we do with our kids, by the way. Like, you're the oldest, so you go first. I did not know that also applied to us.
Awesome.
Incriminating myself. All right. So I'm a city boy from New York City, born and raised. And then I moved to South Florida for most of my teenage and college years. Out of college, but also like at the end of college, like mid-college, I started a band and we got signed and we traveled full time in between breaks. And then we got signed before my senior year. So then we started touring full time once I graduated. After a few years of doing that, I met a couple in Ohio that I became really close friends with. He was in a band as well. Christa was actually her god sister. and this was in the MySpace days. So I saw her in her top 8 and was like, "Hey, who's that?" And she said, "No way, I'm introducing you to her. That's my god sister. You're one of my best friends. If you guys get together and something falls apart, I lose one of you." I said, "Oh, okay, cool." Added her myself. Then through a bunch of ups and downs, we ended up getting together, and she's from a different kind of background, so I'll let her go from there.
Can I ask one question? Can I ask one question? What's the band?
It was called the Red Baron. It was a spirit-filled, straight-edge hardcore band out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
The Red Baron. Is it still on Spotify?
Yeah. Yes, you can go to Spotify, Amazon Music. Yeah. Our album's called My First Love.
The Red Baron, as in like the pizza?
Kind of, but no. But we got that a lot. So actually, one of the T-shirts that we made, I love that you said that. He was actually a war pilot before it was a pizza. Yes, yeah, that's us right there.
There they are.
That's it.
Yeah. And so we actually milked that whole thing because people would always ask, "Oh, like the pizza?" So the first T-shirt that we made on our major tour was a dinosaur eating a box of Red Baron pizza, and that paid our bills for about 2.5 years. So it was pretty good. We should.
There were some really good shirts.
So I bet it looks like it. Very. What time frame was this, Phil?
I graduated college in 2000.
2007-ish. 2005, 2010.
Yep, exactly. Yep. Because we did our last 90s, tour.
90s grunge feel.
We did our last tour in 2009 before our wedding. So, and that's when she broke up the band. But we can go from there.
You had a choice.
I did. I made a choice between 5 sweaty dudes every night or waking up to a hot wife. So I made the right choice.
You made the right choice. Yeah. Christa, your story?
Before I broke up the band and ruined his life.
Yoko Ono?
Is that our connection?
I have no idea.
You cut out there. What'd you say?
I said Yoko Ono.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Yoko Ono. Yep.
Oh.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, maybe. I'm from Indiana, small town.
Nice.
A lot of cornfields, not a lot to do.
Midwest.
But good life, Moved to Ohio with my family. They were, helping start a church, and then they up and left and moved to Maryland. And I was like, well, I guess I'm staying here because I'm not going to Maryland. And that was pretty much that. He swooped into my life and was like, hey, I don't think you want to be here anymore either. Let's go do something else. And I was like, okay.
Here we are, Florida.
Yeah,
we are.
Now in the RV life. So how did you guys, you got 2 kiddos, and you recently transitioned into the RV life here about a year ago. Tell us that story, like how that all conspired, personal journey into RV life.
So one of the main things that led to RV life was after we had purchased the townhome during COVID and everything like that
in Tampa.
In Tampa, our community changed. We were no longer plugged in at the church that we were at, and we kind of just started figuring out what does the future look like? Like, this is what we were here for. We don't really have any major attachments. What's next? And I was running a photography business that she did with me up until we had our first son. And then it had grown to become a big team. But after COVID and everything slowed down, and then I had a major brain tumor operation, and then had a surgery,
2001.
Yeah, 2021. 2021. I had a major surgery, and after the recovery,
Sorry,
we kind of wanted to figure out what really mattered and what we really wanted to do. And it was crazy because I was in my photography studio and I was watching a couple's videos. They're called George and Christa, and they go by George and Chris on Instagram, and they're like a viral travel family now. Travel couple, and we were following them both because the last wedding she shot with me was actually their wedding, and they became good friends over time. And so I'm watching their videos of them traveling everywhere and going, man, I wish we could do this. I didn't know, but she was doing the same thing at home, watching their videos going, wow, I wish we could do this. And so we sat on the couch one day. Oh, cut out a second.
Just a little bit. You said we came home, and that's where you cut out.
Okay. So I had been watching the videos from my photo studio, wishing that we could do it. She was doing that from home without me knowing. And so we sat down one day and she was like, can I say something crazy? And I'm usually the crazy one. I'm usually the, hey, I got an idea. Why don't we do this tomorrow?
And usually he opens his mouth to say, hey, I got an idea. And I'm like, probably not. I don't think you do.
No.
Yeah.
The answer is just no.
No ideas. No.
So
I can't handle any more ideas.
I'm the crazy Enneagram 7, like, have an idea, let's put it to use the next day. So hearing the words, hear something crazy, was a little bit interesting for me to hear. And then she told me that she had been watching the videos and wished that we could. And my mind just went, like, what is happening? Like, I never thought I would hear that from her. So we talked about it, and I was like, why can't we? And she's like, well, there's got to be reasons why we can't. Like, and I was like, well, no. Like, and so we agreed to pray about it, and we did. And we felt like, you know, God had said, there's nowhere you can drive that you can't U-turn, like, out of my will. Like, you can't drive far enough that you can't just turn around and boom, be back. And so we started talking about it. And
by talking about it, what we mean is we actually started like shopping and looking and just doing it. And we kept looking at each other like, are we doing this? And we're like, I guess we're doing this. We're setting up a meeting with this couple to renovate an RV. Like, it seems like we're doing this.
And yeah, there was a step in between because she did bring up great points about like, what would this look like for the boys, you know? And so we actually set up meetings with quite a few couples that we know that have done this with and without kids to kind of get their experience. So we did it with George and Christa. We did it with a couple called Shane and Emily of a music band called Arbor Season that they travel with their kids in a schoolie. And then one of my old photographer members, Jennifer Martin, her family did it in a schoolie. And then lastly, we did a meeting with a couple called Ashley and Philip Kohlhauer, who used to go to church with us, that travel in an RV. And all of them told them how amazing it was for their kids and the experience that their kids have had, where it's not just, here, we're going to talk about something in the textbook, but hey, that thing that we read last week, we're going to do next week. And so that kind of fueled us too, was hearing other people's experiences and knowing that it had been successful with people we trust. Any other thoughts?
I believe it. I've heard nothing but good things about traveling with kids, which actually brings us to our point. Do you have anything to add to that, Christa, or you're all in agreement of that?
Yeah, in agreement. We started talking about it with the boys too, and at first they were like, leave the town, don't leave Tampa, leave our friends. You know, and so we had to have a lot of conversations with them. And they're young, you know. Miles was 3 at the time. Jonah was 6. You know, so conversation on their level looked different. But we did want them to be an active part of the conversation. I think for me, you know, having moved from Indiana to Ohio, there wasn't conversation, you know, when I was a kid. It was just like, here's your boxes, pack your room, we're leaving, you know. And my sister and I both have had a lot of, I don't want to call it trauma. It wasn't trauma, but a lot of like, you know, unhealed stuff from that. So we definitely wanted the kids to be part of the conversation. And I feel like that was a major step, you know, for us to be able to feel comfortable with doing this, because they were on board, you know, in as much as they could understand what was happening, they were on board.
Yeah. And I think that's a great point, because she was very inclusive, and also like social media kind of helped in that realm, you know, being able to show them some of the families and what they were able to do, showing them some of the places that we could go. Like, we haven't gone out west yet. We're doing that after the summer. But Jonah has banked on going to the Grand Canyon, and the desert. Like, I want to go to the desert. I want to go to the Grand Canyon. Like, ever since he saw the photos of how, like, beautiful it is. And then we told him, like, hey, in person, it's 10 times more magnificent. So, like, that's been in his mind the whole time. So at first they were a little skeptical, but, you know, she did a great job of reminding them, like, hey, we can always drive back and see our friends and drive back and come home. We're never going to be, you know, completely out of the possibility of coming back to Tampa. But now they, you know, have really adapted to it, and we'll talk about it more. But as we've done it, they've become more and more on board as we've gone.
This is great. This is going to transition perfectly into the questions then, because we're talking about RVing with kids. That's what we're doing today. So, so, I mean, on that point, like, you guys just kind of got teased by Instagram, right? That's kind of, I mean, it's just kind of, it sounds like that's the story that kind of got you to where you're going. George and Chris, you guys did their photos, or the company of yours who did the photos, and you started following them separately, and you're like, hey, crazy idea. And then you're like, well, actually, that's almost like, how do you say that? It's almost cosmic, man. It's like two separate people. It's forces of the universe right there a little bit. But you guys used Instagram also to, I guess, help your kids see the value of what you're trying to do with them, right? So, I mean, you already have, like, you had that kind of drew you into it. You know, George and Chris drew you into RVing as a family, and then helping or using their platforms or their socials to show your kids that push you into it. But what are some, in your guys' experience, what are some benefits of RVing with kids that you didn't expect to have in your first year that you've been doing this? Big question. It's kind of a heavy one right off the bat.
Yeah, but it's honestly, like, this has been something I've been thinking about, so this is perfect timing. I know it's easy, like, culturally, for us to think of kids as almost parasitic, right? Like, they always want something from you, want something from you, want something from you. And it's true. Like, there are some times where I look at Miles and I'm like, bro, I know that the reason why there's something in me biologically that I'm not supposed to eat you, but I understand why most of your young.
This is one of those knee grabs.
Chill out.
I just mean that I understand why certain species take their children out sometimes. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying I would do it. There's a biological.
We just got unfollowed by so many people.
No, we don't.
Understanding. It's a motherhood understanding.
Yeah. But living this lifestyle has given them an opportunity to be contributors, and they've wanted to. Like, we talk so much about how, like, our family is a family unit. Like, yes, Daddy and I are an authority over you guys, and, you know, we're the ones who make the ultimate decision, but you're a contributor to this family. You are put in this family for a reason. And it's not just to, like, give them a comfortable life and make sure that they never experience any disappointment. It's like, if our whole thing is to try to teach them how to live and be in the world, like, what kind of humans do I want to see them turn into? And so we've talked to them a lot about, like, how can you contribute to the family? And so one of the things that has really, I mean, as being that he and I are not experts, we don't know how to change oil in our truck. I don't know how to change a tire. Okay. I mean, I could do it. I could figure it out. But, like, as far as DIY, we're not. Okay. I'm going to take it to Ford and I'm going to have it done. You know, I'm going to pay the people to do the things so that I don't have to. But being that we're in an RV, we don't have that luxury. We can't just go and, like, find a shop to take it to. We have had to troubleshoot some things. We've had to figure some things out. And inviting our kids into that has been, like, such a huge surprise at how willing they are to actually, like, engage and want to be involved in that stuff. But also, like, it's so sweet to have this moment where we're all at the same time learning how to do something together, and they're not looking at us like we know what we're doing. We're making it super clear to them, like, we have no clue what we're doing. We don't know what we're supposed to do right now. We got to figure this out. And they want to join into that. And that has been, like, the biggest benefit to me for us, you know, of us doing that is including them, not shoving them out of the way and going, like, hold on, this is stressful. We don't know what to do. You got to go over there and play. I mean, obviously sometimes that has to happen if it's a dangerous situation, but by and large, like it's been them going like, okay, what do we need to do? How can I help? That's one of Jonah's favorite questions to ask. Hey, how can I help?
Yeah. And to piggyback off of that, like we've been able to work with some really cool brands and do some like reels and stuff like that. But probably my favorite reel on there might not be a bunch of other people's favorite reels, might not get the most views. And I don't really care. But it was the one where we did have to change the RV or the generator's oil. And it was so special because Jonah really, really wanted to be involved. So he sat down with Christa holding the phone as we YouTubed each step, figuring out what he could hand me, what tool he could get, and just kind of like incorporating him into it. So then at the end of it, it wasn't, hey guys, we changed the oil, but it was, hey dad, mom, we all changed the oil. Like this was our family doing this, and it was real cool. And so in that same thing is like our upbringings, as you heard earlier, are completely different, you know? So when it comes to like a lot of things that she was taught when she was younger, I wasn't. I didn't have my dad in the picture at all. So everything I learned was street knowledge, just me and my older brother, you know, like fending for ourselves, but more in a street life, not in a how to do these, you know, things, you know, like she learned a lot more of that.
Handiwork.
So now we're learning the things that neither one of us knew, learning new things as well. But our boys traveling to country, to city, they're being able to learn the balance of her and I, you know, and how we've both kind of grew up. Instead of just being in Tampa where we were, where it was pretty much city, they're kind of learning now, hey, these are the different things that you can learn. So that to me has been one of the best parts, is learning things as a family with our kids. And then the second is community. Learning how to do life with other families on the road has also been really huge for our family and our kids. Because in this first year, that was one of our biggest concerns, was like friendships for our boys.
Yeah.
And now we don't only have friendship with the boys, but we've gained some really amazing friends on the road early as well, that we get to travel alongside of. So that's been a total blessing.
Absolutely wonderful. So have you guys noticed, since you have hit the road, have you noticed your kids, to both your boys, have they made any major changes socially, emotionally, or mentally?
Yeah. So I'm more of the introvert of the two. Phil's definitely an extrovert. Like he can go out and meet people like that. It's not that easy for me. It's just not. I don't do small talk well. I cannot talk to you about the weather. I don't care. You know, so it's harder for me to make those connections. My kids are the same. You know, Jonah, I think, can be a little bit more of the extrovert, but it's not. Where'd you go?
I want to get you a little more in the camera. You're beautiful.
It's not ever.
Oh, what a guy.
Been he's been more of like the social anxiety type, where it's been harder for him to. He sees kids, he wants to go play with them, but he doesn't know how to make those connections. And being that we're living on the road in any given area for just a few weeks, really, he's learned, like, through trial and error, if you don't go and make those friends, you might become friends with somebody 2 days before we leave, and then you've missed out on all this time. And he's experienced that, where he's been too afraid to go and approach kids, and then they finally have to meet, you know, because they're at the pool playing together, or they're at the playground and they're the only ones, and had this, you know, really awesome connection. And then it's like, oh man, I should have been playing with you the whole time. So it's definitely forced them both into not wasting time. You know, if you see some kids and they look like they might be your kind of people, or they're riding bikes and they ask if you want to ride bikes, go ride bikes. And it's caused them to have to be more social.
Yeah.
You know, I was nervous because, you know, I was homeschooled, and I was a weird homeschooled kid. Like, I did not have the social thing has not ever been my forte, but certainly like the self-awareness aspect of, you know, homeschooling was just not there, because I didn't have my peers to kind of like be like, stop saying stuff like that. It's weird, you know? I was kind of,
I don't know what to do.
Concerned about that, you know, like, oh, I don't, you know, I know that the weird homeschool kid, like that stigma doesn't necessarily exist anymore because there are so many people, even people who don't travel who have chosen to homeschool. And so there are so many cool co-ops. I think parents by and large are like a lot more intentional about that.
Yeah.
But I was worried, about getting on the road and then being homeschooled and us being their only, interaction. Like, what if we get out on the road and it is just us? Like, it's just us. I don't think that's necessarily I don't think that's going to be healthy for them. It's not going to be healthy for us. Like, we have to find ways of intentionally connecting with other families. What was the question?
No, that was good. And I think that's a perfect segue. Like, as parents, my advice for your kids in traveling is the intentionality part. Like I said, we met with a lot of couples before to find out what worked and what didn't with their kids. And one thing that we've seen in different conversations with different people is we didn't really find, our kind of people till a year in or a year and a half in. And I'm just like, man, that's discouraging. But they would say, we didn't know how to look or where to look. And so for us, it was kind of a blessing because I was talking to one of those couples, Philip Kohlhauer, and he met a guy named Shane Boyd and was like, hey, I met some guy named Shane. He's got tattoos like you, seems to love Jesus like you do. I think he likes other things you do. I don't know much about him, but he's got a group called Gathering of Nomads on Facebook, and maybe you guys should connect. And I was like, all right. So I added the guy. We said hi to each other. I added their app, and then it was kind of like out of sight, out of mind. And then we were traveling, and we were going to Michigan, and I get a pop-up on Facebook that they were having a rally in Michigan, the same, like 2 weeks after we were supposed to leave Michigan. So we were like, do we go to this thing? Do we check it out? Like, maybe it would be a cool opportunity for our family to meet other families. And she was like, what do we know about these people? Research it. Make sure it's not anything like, that we wouldn't want to go to.
And like to that point, like I think just after having left the church that we had been at for 13 years, like we were skittish, and so he's talking to me about like going to this like nomadic church rally. I'm like, I just like, if it's like a church camp like it could be, I don't want to go. I don't want to do it. And
so we researched it. It didn't look like anything flaky or weird.
We joined one of their prayer calls, and I was like, yeah, I guess it's fine. They seem normal. They don't seem super weird.
Yeah. And so we went.
It's not a
cult at all. So we went, and that was actually a really cool experience because at a campground, you could have kids and stuff like that, but you don't know if the parents care to connect with other parents or want their kids to connect with other kids. You don't know if they're looking for that, or if like the campground we're at right now, there's a bunch of families that are here just for spring break and all they want is family time and to go to like the cool experiences around here. They're not trying to make friends. So you don't really know. But something like this, you knew that everyone was there for kind of the community aspect, and so we made really, really good friends through that Gathering of Nomads rally. And so I know that there's other rallies too. I know that Friends, Full-Time Families does stuff. We know that, different content creators like trying something new will do some events and stuff like that. So I think seeking intentionality of connecting with people is important to make your kids feel at home. Deny.
Very nice. Well, very cool. I know there was all sorts of rallies, and I think I might have heard of Gathering of Nomads at one point in time. But on that fact, you talked about homeschooling. Christa, you said you were homeschooled yourself. I'm also from the Midwest. I was not homeschooled, but I understand the country of the living. I do know how to change a tire. I do know how to change. I grew up on a farm, more so homestead than a. I had that background. Now, me going to the streets, like you said from you, Phil, I was lost. I was like, I was looked at like a country kid. People said I sounded country. I didn't dress country ever. I was in gym shorts and Jordans driving tractors. That's what I did. But anyway, so on that, the fact of, it's really cool that you guys said, there's people that pass through kids aren't, you're not really gonna make friends with those people. They want to be family time, but there's also a ton of ways for kids to make friends and have fun. But how do you guys balance fun and education while traveling? Because they're still homeschooling, right? It's not all about fun. Sounds like this is Krista's question. Krista, would you like to answer this, please?
Well, I mean, I do try to make it as fun as possible. The nice thing is our kids are still young, so they don't have anything to compare it to. But Jonah did go to preschool, and I think for me, whether or not we traveled, homeschool was always like top choice for me. Being that he kind of struggles with some things the same way I do, with focus and attention and overwhelm in large groups. So, homeschool was always kind of one of those things that I felt was going to be a better option for him than traditional school. And we were zoned for a really good school at the time, but it was, large classes, and like my friend's kindergartner was coming home with math homework, and like she struggling, and I'm like, kindergarten, like she's coming home with homework in kindergarten. Like, that's just not for me. It's just not for us.
That's what I did.
My gosh, crazy. Yeah. So we do have a curriculum that we follow, but school takes like 45 minutes. We can knock it out faster if he actually gets his mind wrapped around it. But I would say doing school outside is a big thing. I find that like being inside tends to make it feel like the walls are closing in a little bit, like the frustration, rises. So we try to do school outside as much as possible. We went to Theodore Roosevelt State Park the other day, and so I brought the boys home and talked about Teddy Roosevelt. That's a history lesson. Trying to incorporate lessons as much as I possibly can, even if it's not in a structured school, sit down setting.
Yeah.
Has been really helpful. And the nice thing is like bless you. There was a Montessori school in Tampa that I was really interested in. And I feel like watching Miles, who is 4, learn from Jonah, who is 7, confirmed in my mind, like that is how school should be done, because Miles learns so fast from Jonah. Bless you.
Bless you twice. Yeah. Goodness. 3 times. I don't give the 3rd one out for free.
Good. I'm good. I'm blessed. I'm good. We're good.
But seeing how quickly Miles picks things up from Jonah makes my life easier. And Jonah's so willing to help his little brother learn that it just, again, it comes back to like, they want to be contributors. They want to learn. Jonah will still do the whole like, I don't want to do schoolwork. I hate school. But he sits down and does it, and he's so proud of himself. He came in the other day. It was a poetry day, I think. Or no, it was reading comprehension. And he had to read something, and Jonah had to pay attention to the story and then regurgitate back, answer some questions, and explain it. Yeah. And he was so proud of himself when that was over. And so we just try as much as we can to draw attention to, like, I know learning is hard. I know that this is like not necessarily always what you want to do, but pay attention to the sense of accomplishment that you do feel. And that changes it.
And I think what I've seen from it, I think with, that example, I taught Jonah something, read it to him. And then as he continued to regurgitate back, what he had heard, I would ask him a question and he'd be like, oh yeah, here's the details on it. And he just soaked it up like a sponge. And I feel like the affirmation that he saw from like how proud of him I was, also fuels his desire to learn. Like, I don't think it would be the same for Jonah if a teacher was like, oh, I'm impressed, good job there, but him seeing the affirmation from us on how proud we are, when he puts his mind to something and, seeing him overcome things, like having the office right here in the back. I was working the other day and he's like, hey Dad, do you have a minute real quick? I just read Mom this poem. Can I read it to you? Like, he loves to like come and show us, what he's learning. Yeah. And I love that, and so finding I think one of the coolest things about RV life is being able to carve out that time. If we were still back in Tampa and she was doing the homeschooling thing and I was in my photo studio, he can't come into my room and tell me, hey, Dad, look what I did. It would have to be when I came home, if I wasn't exhausted from the day or whatever. And the flexibility of being like, you know what, you're supposed to do school right now, but we just found out about this cool thing going on. We're going to put school aside and we're going to do school at 5 p.m. when we come home. Like having that flexibility to value time as a family and still do the school thing is, one of my favorite parts about it.
Yeah. Yeah. And along with that, I mean,
that's super
knowing
cool.
yourself and knowing your kids and what works for them and what doesn't, I feel like it was a struggle at first, because when we first started schooling, I tried to do it so structured. My aunt tried, we were staying with my aunt while our trailer was being renovated, and she really wanted it to be this structured, she wanted me to like write F on his paper when he did something wrong. And I understand where that comes from. Like there's like an old school mentality that I'm not going to just like take a total dump on. But I knew that wasn't motivating for him. And then, realizing that, okay, afternoon school time for us, I'm tired and I'm out of fuel. He's getting tired and his brain is not as focused. Like afternoon time is for play. Morning time needs to be, breakfast straight into schoolwork where he and I are at our best. And there are some days we wake up and it's like, this is not working. This is not a good day. Like he's not had a good night of sleep, or I'm, whatever. Today we're skipping school.
Yeah.
Today's not going to be a school day. Today is going to be a day where we go outside and play. And maybe he'll learn something. Maybe he won't. But you know what? We're not going to fight over school.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that kind of rolls right into the idea of what the next question is. So the question, or this is the next portion, keeping the chaos in check, right? Tips for harmony within RV life, or like keeping kids entertained, also like routine, right? So like, how do you guys keep a rhythm or a routine in such a small space, and then traveling also as well? So it's a little different. You said, you just kind of hinted at it right there. Like, hey, school is not an everyday thing, which I would agree. I mean, I think kids as a child, I was learning at all times, right? Kids are they're so, like you said, Phil, they're sponges, right? All the time. So the fact that they're around you, watching you do your work, whatever it may be, and then also being around mom, watching, or, learning from her as well. And then how do you keep that all as in a rhythm and a routine? It sounds like it's a little sporadic, as in it's not a structured, this has to be here, this has to be here, because there are cool things that pop up. You said, Phil, hey, let's go do this. We'll come back and do the 45 to an hour of what we need to do and get that done. But how do you guys keep that rhythm or routine in such a small space?
One thing I would say is be realistic with yourself. Because, we left a 2,200 square foot townhome and we were like, 325 square foot of space. It's going to be so easy to like keep it maintained, keep it clean, keep this, keep that. No, not at all. Like the same kind of real life situations that you're going to face in the home that you're in, you're going to face in what you're living in now. And so I think for us, kind of realizing that sometimes the beauty in the chaos is okay. Like everything does not have to be perfect all the time. Yes, there's times where you're just like, she'll be like, I can't go to sleep with this many dishes in the sink. I need to clean them.
Do it.
But then sometimes just being like, you know what? We had a really busy day. I'm going to have some grace for myself, because I know that if I do these dishes right now, I'm going to stay up too late, and then I'm going to be a shell of myself in the morning. Like I'm going to have to wake up with dishes in the morning. So being flexible and being open and honest with yourself. And I think for me, I try to keep a structure of work and stuff like that. But part of the beauty of RV life is the freedom to be able to say, hey, I need to be flexible here. Like there's something really, really cool going on in the other room with my wife and kids. I can do this a little bit later. Like I have that flexibility in the lifestyle that we chose. So I think for me, it's not so much having this perfect way of doing things, like the Instagram reel version of RV life. I think it's the bloopers of Instagram reel creating, where you have more of the fun when you're just open and honest with yourselves about, hey, some really great things happened today. some really great things didn't happen today, but we're doing this together and we're traveling and we're experiencing life in the way that we really wanted to, in the way that we felt God wanted us to. And we're going to take the wins and the losses and count it all joy in that. So that's my opinion, is like, it doesn't have to be perfect. There's going to be, things that are going to be flexible. And being flexible is the most important, in my opinion. What about you?
It's so funny because it's the exact opposite. I'm a big expectations person. When Phil used to be, at his studio, I would call and say, hey, what time are you coming home? And it wasn't that I needed him to be home right at that time that he said he was going to be home. But if there was going to be a shift, like, just tell me, because I need to know how much of my mental and emotional energy I need to save. Like, how long do I need to stretch this patience, basically? And so, like he was talking about, he's better at the structure thing. He's better at structuring his day, right? So, like, we wake up in the morning, we do breakfast with the boys, he does devotional with them, and then he comes to his office, and that's it. Like, Daddy's at work. We're not coming in there 20 different times. Obviously, there are like those moments where Jonah's like, can I go show Dad?
Yeah.
But I think having the expectation set, like, okay, we're going to have breakfast, and then Daddy's going to go to work, and then we're going to do schoolwork. Especially in a small space, I feel like is really important. Like, our boys do not run amok. They're not the type of kids who are going to be like swinging from the chandeliers, but they both almost get this like angsty, agitated sense about themselves when they don't know what's going to happen. So I try as best as I can. And here's typically what happens.
Keep talking. More of you.
No.
Yeah.
Typically what happens is I create this really optimistic list of things that I want to get done during the day. And then I have to submit this list to him. And he circles top 3 and is like, okay, come back to me if you get these 3 done. And then yeah.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. But our kids are big with expectations. So I told them, like, listen, I'm setting a 30-minute timer. We got 30 minutes to play at the park. And then Daddy and I have a call, and you guys can watch a movie while we do that. And it just changes the flow. They know what to expect.
Yeah.
And so it also keeps me from feeling like I'm saying no all the time. Like when your kids don't have expectations, at least in our experience, like when my kids don't have expectations, they're constantly asking me for things. And then I find that I'm constantly saying no. So then they're frustrated and I'm irritated because I think they're asking for things that they already know the answer to. They do. They know we're not going to Disney World today, but it's another no I have to give. Whereas if I'm ahead of them and I say, here's what's happening today. We're going to the Humane Society. We're coming home. We're eating breakfast. We're doing school. We're playing outside. We're riding bikes, going to the park and coming home and taking a rest. Like, they know there's not room to add all these other extra things, and they don't get to decide the rhythm of the day.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, because I think between the two of us, it's a balance. So setting those expectations keeps them from wanting to know, what am I going to do? Can I do this? Can I do this? But we all acknowledge together as parents that there's flexibility on our end, that if something comes about, we can change that, without having to tell that to the kids, so that they're not constantly wondering if that something else is available, but being like, hey, there's this thing that we reached out to. There's this thing. If they reach out this week, we'll move the schedule around to attend this or to visit this place. Then we'll move things around in our schedule. So us having that flexibility, but setting a basic structure for the day keeps things moving. Like for the kids, she did a craft with them where they created these little tokens that say 10 or 15 minutes on them. And that they can use throughout the day if they want to watch a show or to play a game on a screen, whether it's on a tablet or...
They're screen tokens.
Yeah, they're screen tokens. Once you run out of your screen tokens, you don't have any more screen time during the day. You know that expectation. So they can, based off of the fact that they know that they have these 3 tokens for the day, they have to allot them in their free time when they think it's best. And so that's an expectation. They don't go, oh, how much time can I get today? Well, because you have those tokens. So having that would be my main point. And the last thing I'll say is, it's funny, when you said chandelier, that you were the one swinging on a chandelier, I immediately thought of you in the Miley Cyrus video, just swinging from that, like, I know, but I saw him like her.
It's me.
I saw him on a chandelier just going back and forth. It was kind of crazy. Yeah, just the times. A memory I will always have of you from now on. It's great.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
I'm slightly concerned that my mind went there, but it is what it is.
It's this. That's what it is. Oh, that's good. That's good. I like though. There's some good golden nuggets in there. The setting the expectation to know what they know and without having to say no. You know what I mean? Like this is what it's going to be. Do you agree? Yes, I do. Perfect. All right. 30 minutes has gone by. We're leaving. No whining, no griping.
I mean, they will.
On.
Oh, they're still going to whine, but they knew.
Listen, this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, you cut out there a little bit. Give me a second. Wait. There you go. Yeah.
Okay. They do whine. The whining will still be there.
The whining happens.
Yeah. But it's expected whining from their point.
Yeah.
But at
least you said the expectation. Yeah. They already, hey, we had this conversation. It's just a good parenting tip overall, I think, in general. And then the screen nuggets, the screen tokens. I think that's really cool because we're addicted to them too, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're adults. Yeah. I mean, as an adult, I catch myself sometimes like, wow, I am just wasting minutes of my life away. And I just keep scrolling.
I have to delete apps. Jonah asked me the other day, Mom, why did you delete Instagram? Because we were looking for a recipe, and I was like, oh, shoot, I deleted the app. And he said, why'd you delete it? And I said, because I couldn't stay off of it. Every single time I opened my phone to do something that I actually needed to do, and my thumb went to Instagram, and I was like, what the heck am I doing?
Yeah, you're caught in it. It's a rhythm. Yeah. They know us better than we know ourselves. It's bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So on top of that, you guys find your own little rhythm. You're flexible but structured, right? You have to be. Obviously, what you guys do living on the road, it's a little different animal. But what are some things that help your kids feel involved and in control? I think the screen tokens is one, and then making them feel involved and how do you do that? And then what are some ways on top of that? What are some ways you taught your kids responsibility on the road? So kind of a lot of a question there. You gave them make them feel in control. One, giving them expectations, then giving them screen tokens. You can do what you want. If you want to take a break, here's your break, but you only get X amount of time. But making them feel involved and also what responsibilities do you give them or help them feel responsible?
Yeah. I think
choices.
Yeah, I think choices, but also the inclusion. Last night, I was like, man, and this is just real life. I said to her, I really wish that I would have while you guys were gone, we would have had the living room cleaned up because this is such a cool moment that I would like to capture on video, but we didn't clean up and I'm not going to record it. She had found this healthy version of making Coca-Cola for that is safe for kids and everything like that. So she went, got the ingredients with them. And the three of them made their own Coca-Cola last night. So instead of her just making it and being like, hey, here's a healthy alternative, they got excited. And all day they were like, when they came home, hey, Ma, is it time to do it yet? She's like, no, we got to eat. Then we got to get ready. Then we have to do this. Then we have to do that. But they were so excited that they kept asking, we're still going to make our Coca-Cola, right? We're still going to make our Coca-Cola. And then they actually made it. And they just loved actually being able to do it with her. So I think finding ways to include them instead of just doing the easier thing of making it and serving it, that would have made our night quicker. It would have got the boys to bed quicker if she just made it and put it in their glasses and said, here, healthy version. But she gave them the opportunity to create memories with her, and they felt like they partook in it. And I think it actually made them think that it tasted better than it did because it was the work of their own hands. Because she was like, I don't think it's that great. And they were like, Miles was like, this is the greatest drink ever.
This is delicious. What are you talking about?
Yeah. So yeah, that's my thought. What about you?
I'm kind of a mean mom sometimes. I'm a big proponent for natural consequences, right? Like we as adults experience the consequences of our own actions. Like nobody is there to like tell us we did a bad job or smack our hands when we do something wrong. It's that we actually have to deal with the situation that we've created. And so like, in as much as I can, you know, like obviously in a way that doesn't put them in danger, like they don't have full reign to just like do whatever you want and whatever happens. But I guess a good example would be like if they don't want to brush their teeth at night, like then you can't have any sugar or anything tomorrow that turns to sugar. Like you can choose not to brush your teeth, but tomorrow will be protein and fiber only, and like that's their choice. They have chosen that sometimes. And Miles, even at 4, he'll ask, Mom, can I have a pancake? Oh wait, I didn't brush my teeth last night. I can't have a pancake. I guess it's eggs. And we've also told them, if you don't take care of your stuff, you don't get to keep your stuff. Like if you are, oh wait, are we frozen? Uh-oh, connection lost.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
We good?
It keeps saying connection, trying to reestablish connection.
It says we have full connection.
Keep talking.
Are we back? Okay.
Woo!
Yeah.
There have been times where, you know, we've talked to them about like when you're an adult, if you don't take care of your stuff and it breaks, you don't get to keep your stuff, and you don't, a lot of the time you don't replace it, you know? So if you don't take care of your things and they end up lost or broken, they're going in the trash. I'm not going to spend hours of my day trying to super glue together something that had you put it where it was supposed to go, it wouldn't have gotten stepped on. And obviously not everybody, you know, goes down that road. But again, I just feel like it's the natural consequence of things, and it's helped them to take responsibility for their stuff. You know, same with my son's dog. He knows his grandmother loves our dog Barrett, loves him. If he should at any point choose that he does not want to take care of his dog, feed his dog, help walk his dog, clean up after his dog has a beautiful home in Charlotte, North Carolina that he can go to. And, you know, it's not as easy as that. It's not like I just, you know, ship the dog to North Carolina, but there is this kind of reminder of like, hey buddy, if you're not going to take care of, this was your dog, you wanted him. This was the whole agreement. We didn't surprise him with a dog and then say, okay, here you go. Now he worked for it. You know, he took time to show his, you know, willingness and his responsibility to actually care for an animal. But at some point it's not good for Barrett to, you know, experience neglect in these ways, and we're here to help you. You know, he's part of our family. We're willing to support you in that, but this is your responsibility. This is what you committed to. And if you're not going to be a man of your word, then he needs a better home than what we're currently, you know, giving him, because I'm not going to take it on.
And I think the way that it all like wraps up in RV life is that we have chosen a simpler life, you know? And so it's not like before where we were like, you know, like we're in the townhome, you have all these extra toys, you know, like if one breaks, it's all good. You got a ton more to play with. It's like, no, you didn't take care of your stuff. And that's one of the, you know, important toys in your bin. And we're not living a life of just replenishing and buying. Yeah. We chose simple. Like we chose to downsize. We chose to put a value on our experiences and using our resources for those experiences, not for our stuff. So it makes them value things a little bit differently now that we're in the RV life, that things aren't just easily replaceable. So you might want to value them a little more.
Absolutely. So you said he gave you know, your kids have the consequences, right? They have the also the tokens. They can kind of choose their way, expect, you know, certain things if they do X, Y, Z or whatever it may be. Do they have specific roles on travel days or at the campsite or at whatever? Do they have like, hey, this is your job? Do you have that set or?
Not down to like the specifics. Usually, well, he and I have our own separate lists. And so there are times where honestly, it just kind of depends on the day. Like there have been days where it's raining outside and it's gross, and like, here guys, just sit in front of the TV, you know, like we'll just knock it out and get it done because it's gross outside, and like it's just that's not worth the fight, honestly. Not the fight, but we just want to get it done. We just want to get it done. But yeah, Jonah's vacuuming. Their main role is to make sure that their bedroom is clear so that their slide can be brought in. So they're both really good at that. They both just constantly ask, like, how can I help? How can I help? Or if Jonah's asking me, hey, how can I help? And I don't have anything, I'll say, go and ask Daddy, you know, how you can help outside. He'll get mad at certain things. Like Phil handed him a table that had grease on it to put in the back end because I had the Blackstone sitting on it. And he was like, I mean, who would give a kid a greasy, dirty table? Like he was not loving it. And I was like,
who would do that? How dare you?
I'm a child. It was so funny.
Who do you think you are?
He literally was like, who would do that to a kid? I'm like, I don't think he was trying to do it to you, but I'm sorry that happened. Let me help you get cleaned up, you know? And at that point he was like, I think I need a break. I was like, yeah, I get that. Like sometimes I need a break too. So take a break. Take your break. It's okay.
Yeah. And I think we've learned over time, which to like anyone who, you know, you said not everyone's full-timer that watches this, you know, or they're considering full-time or whatever. We learned a lot of things the hard way by going too fast or not having any actual structure in place for setup and teardown. And from those pretty horrible experiences, we kind of found our roles, which allows us to do better with the kids. Because at first we would just be like, sit in the car, wait till we're done. And then they would not know where we are. Then they would get stressed and they would roll down the window. They'd start yelling, mom, dad. And that would cause us to get stressed because if we pulled in late and our neighbors are like trying to chill for the night, or if we're at, you know, a harvest toast or anything like that, it was just like, this is not easy. So being able to just include them, even if they don't have like a certain role at that time, whatever they know that they are invited into makes them want to help. So whether it's, hey, Jonah, can you do me a favor and can you grab the chairs out of the back of the truck? I'm going to set up our glamp mats right now and let's set those up. You know, like he'll jump into the bed of the truck and he feels included. Like he feels, you know, that he's doing his part. Miles is younger, so having roles that, you know, he would be able to do is something, you know, important too, is like realizing their capabilities and finding roles that fit what they can do so that they don't feel like they're just being tossed to the side, because then it makes our job harder too. Because even if you put them in front of a TV and the show stops or the internet's not working, then it's mom, dad from inside the RV, which is distracting again. And then we lose our place. Yeah. So just finding structure, even if it's not, this is how it is every single time. Yeah. Her and I have our every single time, but then we find based off of that situation, what campground we're in. Do we need to level? Do we need to do this? Finding ways to incorporate them makes it a lot easier for us when we get to certain places or leave certain places.
Yeah.
Yeah, just inclusion, right? I mean, you give them a job to do, they're going to do it, and they feel happy about doing it and helping out mom or dad, right? Besides the greasy table, you don't want to give them a greasy table.
No greasy tables.
Who would do that to a child?
No greasy
I
table.
learned.
So anybody out there, don't give your kid a greasy table, or do.
Yeah, if you want a good Instagram reel, make sure it's recording before you hand it to them.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Hey, guys, real quick. Water's flowing through me. Need a quick pre-break. Okay?
All right.
Yes.
Go for
I'm
it.
going to leave it rolling. It's at 57:50, and then I will be RB. All right.
Baja Blast Mountain Dew is like pretty much the only, and that's if we go to Taco Bell, and that's a rarity. That's like once every 6 months.
That's my favorite
I would go.
fast food restaurant.
That's mine too. It's so good.
It's unbeatable. I don't understand how people have problems with it. Like Taco Bell and they have issues. I'm like, no, it's the best.
I know. Did I just not say this to you? Did I just not have this exact conversation? Here's your conversation.
Do you have this problem?
No, he
has a problem with everything he eats.
I like Taco Bell. I like Taco Bell a lot. But anyone who doesn't say they're not hanging out with the porcelain like throne,
I'm not. I don't.
Nor am I.
You're
Because we're from the Midwest, we're just tougher.
Maybe that's it.
yeah. Maybe.
Mhm.
But that thing makes me
New York
like
pansies can't handle their Taco Bell.
no, because we eat real craft food. We eat craft food in New York. Of course we
What
don't.
are you talking about? We eat good food.
Really? Y'all eat like a lot of like y'all eat a lot of like
Eggs and beef,
country
baby. And
food.
a little bit of corn.
Wait. Yeah.
Maybe it's the gravy. Like there's this like constant coating of gravy from childhood, just like in there. So anything we eat, it doesn't bother us. We can take it.
Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Duck lard. Probably duck lard.
Oh yeah, duck lard's good.
Mm-hmm.
Tallow.
All right.
Can't say.
All right. I forgot to ask one question. Sorry, y'all. If you're listening, I'm eating a little bit.
You're good.
Do it.
Somewhere around there. I just put 104. Maybe we'll play a little bit of that. Talk about the porcelain throne and Taco Bell. I don't care. I think it's good content. But anyway.
Taco Bell elites out there that would agree.
I love Taco Bell. It's technically the healthiest choice of fast food.
It is.
That's why I put quotations if you're just listening on Spotify. But anyway, how do you guys manage like personal space and downtime for the kids and yourselves? I know we kind of hit on it a little bit, with hey, we're cleaning things up. It's raining outside. Watch a movie. Shush, But how do you guys go about doing the stuff like that?
So I'm more of like I love to be around my kids during the day. Like I do need breaks. We do send them like of an afternoon. They have a 40-minute lay down time. They don't have to go to sleep. But no screens. They have to be like laying in the quiet, they have to be quiet. Excuse me. They have to be quiet. That's my quiet time of an afternoon. Like I really need that recharge time. They don't love it. They're every single time they're like, why do you always make us do this? I'm like, because I'm a better mom when I get quiet time, and you don't want me, the agitated version of me, the, like just kind of burnt out version. You don't want that version of me. So I'm going to take my quiet time. Therefore, you also have to take a quiet time because we're in 319 square feet. I don't have the luxury anymore of like, okay, go upstairs and go play in your room while I, sit outside on the rooftop and chill out, I am definitely big on like recharging in the silence, like no phones, no distractions, just like need like a solid 30 minutes of just complete quiet. So outside is big for me, I don't necessarily like to send the kids to their rooms to play. I like to be in the room with them. I like to witness their interactions. So it doesn't, I don't know. We all have to live in a very small space together. So there are times where like the boys will start fighting and it's like, okay, you guys have to separate. You have to go to your separate spaces. One of you go lay down in the bed. The other one come over here and lay down on the sofa. Get yourself together. Like literally get a grip, take a few deep breaths, drink some water, and like we'll restart. Otherwise our whole day is going to be spent. I always ask them, and they have, this is the visual cue, thankfully, this or this. Like, that's the visual cue. Like, how do you want this day to go? Do you want it to be where we're divided and we're just kind of like butting heads and knocking against each other and there's this like division? Or do we want it to be like cohesive and working together? Like, what kind of day do you want to have? Sometimes Miles, the 4-year-old, will say, I want this. And I'm like, okay, then you're going to get that. And what that actually looks like is we're not spending a ton of time together. We're not playing games together. We're not outside playing tag together because you would rather this division, you want to choose this bad attitude. And I understand what that's like. There are days we wake up and we're just like, meh, for no reason. There's really nothing to it. But sometimes you just wake up, you're in a bad mood and you don't really want to be in a good mood. And sometimes you just need your space, and being aware of that, I think, is like a huge thing for me. I used to kind of wait until the very end of the day where he would come home and I would take quiet time, and I was spent. Like, he'd walk in and I'd be like, I don't want to hear you. Don't talk to me. Take the kids, go outside, leave me alone. And that's not a nice way to come home. Nobody wants to come home to a wife who's like, take them and get out of my face, So I had to learn for myself, like, oh, I can actually, like, I'm not a bad mom if I send my kids to the other room for an hour, 45 minutes to an hour, so that I can recharge and like actually be a nice person. That's actually me being a good mom and a good wife. Yeah. There are times where 319 square feet feels really small. The last 2 days it rained. We were stuck here. And that's where my spontaneity will come in, where it's like 10 o'clock and I'm like, you guys want to go to Walmart? You want to load up in the truck and go to Walmart? No, that's not realistic. The kids need to go to bed. Mm-hmm. We do have the benefit of our bedroom does really transition well into an office for Phil. So as far as like him having the space that he needs to get work and stuff done, I feel like that's a good situation.
And she's more of a morning person than I am, so she gets up in the morning.
I wake up talking
a lot of times. Well, I wasn't talking about the negative of you waking up. I was talking about when she's not ruining my morning of like rest. A lot of times, if we're all still sleeping, she'll go and she'll have her quiet time, some Bible book reading in the other room, and I think that helps her transition into the day. But she doesn't just wake up and the kids are like, I'm here. Yeah. That she's had some like downtime. She also has like, I think it's like one day every week or every other week that she does like a group, with of ladies that get on a call and they kind of have a Bible study together, and that's their time. And, the boys know like, hey, mom's in her call. So that's for her. And then for me, we had the toy hauler built out by our renovators, Driftless, to actually be my office and photo studio as well. So I get a lot of that, alone time, getting work done, editing reels, editing photos and stuff like that. And her and I are a little different. Like my recharging is different than hers. Her recharging is like seclusion and like quiet. My recharging is people and interaction. And noise. So when I get out, like I go into the other room and I want to play with the boys.
He wants sensory input. I want sensory deprivation.
Exactly. So when we switch, that works well. Like I'll come and I'll be like, all right, the Nick game is on today. I want to sit down with the boys, watch the game, play Sorry during halftime, and just like whatever. So I think that helps a lot too, is that like when I finally am able to just come out, which is a lot better here too, because it was a lot harder when I had the studio and everything like that to like draw a line in the sand of like, I'm done. Here, it's a lot easier to just like, okay, I'm coming into that room. And then if she needs to have her call with the girls, she can come into here. And then I'm out there with the boys. And so I think that us being polar opposites in that also kind of helps with RV life, with having smaller amount of space, because when she needs her refuel of silence, I need my refuel of chaos.
Interesting. Opposites attract, right? That's what they say. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, very cool. So that makes it helps. How old are the boys? 4, you said, and
4 and 7.
6? 4 and 7. Okay, so they're going to fight quite a bit, more than likely.
Yeah.
That's kind of that age, right? I had a same 2 brothers that lived near me growing up. They're like brothers to me. They fought. They're like, they're inseparable now. But anyway, how do you go about like games? So games and activities and entertainment, right? What are some of the go-to games? How do you keep the kids busy on long drives? What's like a rainy day lifesaver? Like, do they get into creative projects? Do they journal? Like, what do they do? How do you do all those things?
Yes. Lots of games. Yes. I grew up, yes to all of it. I grew up in games. We didn't sit, at my grandma's house. We weren't sitting and watching TV. We were outside. We were digging up thistles. We were, messing with ant colonies. We were very interactive in that way. She played a lot of Yahtzee with us, a lot of Uno. Like, we played a lot of games, and I feel like there were Dominoes was a huge one too. Yep. There was so much connection over that I really felt like I want us to incorporate game time in with them too. And also it teaches them, like, you know, you can be a sore winner and a sore loser, and nobody wants to play with either one. Uh-oh.
He's there. We're good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we play Farkle.
Yeah.
What?
No, it's RV internet. You never know.
You never know.
Like RV internet.
I like pros.
Yeah, if you don't like flinch and you have RV internet, you think you're frozen. So
if you could like breathe more visibly, that would be really helpful. Like a big.
Yeah,
What do you want me to do? I should still listen.
Yeah, we play a lot of games. What are those? I never call them the right thing, but those tablets that they're not a backlit screen. It's the
little drawing tablets.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're called.
Those things are sweet. They're like notebooks. Like you can literally, it looks like a piece of paper almost, and you're drawing on it.
Yeah,
and then like you push a button and it disappears.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what they're called, but yes, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
They have those. We do a lot of games in the car. There are times where I'm like, listen, grab the tablet. I can't play another round of ABC. What do we call that? Where it's like A is for apple, B is for ball.
Yeah, word association.
Word association. We play a lot of that's actually really fun. We haven't done that in a while.
Yeah, that's a good road trip one.
Yeah.
But yeah,
great road trip game on my side of things. ABC game, but it's not so much just saying a whatever. You can make a sentence out of it. So make a giant long drawn sentence. That's one way to do the ABC game. And then another one is noticing signs or companies like trucks. Yeah. Like A would be like an Amazon truck, right?
Yeah.
And then B would be, I don't know, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
Burgers are,
that's good. BP gas station. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. Those are some of the road games. And then at home, we like a lot of games together. Like right now we're playing a lot of Sorry. And I'll be honest, a lot of times it turns into, you sorry to me? And like,
you don't have to do that.
You don't have to do that. Don't do it. Reroll, or pick a different card. But it's still fun. So Sorry's been good. Farkle's one of our favorites because we can play that on the floor. We can play it over dinner. We can play it anywhere. That's a really fun game. It's a dice game.
Yeah.
Mario Kart, it's cool to see like them playing games that I used to play when I was younger. So
64?
Getting the boys. So right now it's on Switch.
Yeah.
But it's very similar.
Not the same.
It's still different. Yeah. But it's still the nostalgia.
Yeah. And it's cute too, because we can be like, who wants a family circuit? It's like, sometimes it's a little reset for us all too.
And one that's really good if like we want the kids to be able to interact and sometimes we'll do it with them is on YouTube. There's Art for Kids Hub.
Yep.
Which it shows you how to draw your favorite characters. So if we saw a movie that we really liked, let's say, we went and saw like Moana 2 and they do like this is how to draw Maui. And it shows you step by step a dad and his son, drawing Maui.
Well, it's not just his son. He actually has several different. I think he's got 3 different kids.
Oh, 3 different kids.
And so he does different kinds of drawings for different age groups, and that's been really helpful because Miles can get discouraged really easily, and if it's not perfect, he can very quickly like kind of go into hysterics. So if it's we pick one of the ones that's like for the age 4, Jonah will help him, and he's much more willing to keep trying if Jonah's telling him that he can do it.
And my favorite pastime that we do in the car is me and my brother. We always used to love coloring. Like me and my brother would tear up a coloring book, and we color the same. Him and I. We always
outline
take an outline in dark of every single color we're going to do, and then lightly shade in the rest of it. And it's cool because now over like these last few drawings, like Sundays, we do coloring pages with every Bible study we do with the boys. And she pointed it out. She goes, look, Joan is coloring exactly the way that he sees you doing. He outlines everything now and then does the light shading. So coloring's a lot of fun. We all have like the same color sheet and we do it in our own style, which is a lot of fun.
Very nice. So you come up with several different ways to keep everybody entertained, right? I mean, you even including yourselves. It's bringing back Mario Kart. Mario Kart, I'd say I could compete with some of the best of them as long as you don't do all the tricks and like when you're on the very first, I don't even know what the very first race.
The fast start.
Yeah, and then they can just jump, like they shoot themselves, jump. No, race the race. If you race the race, I can compete with anybody. Donkey Kong is my guy. Nintendo 64.
Yeah. Our truck name is Donkey Kong.
Our truck is called DK because the boys named him Donkey Kong after the Mario movie.
Yeah.
Heck yeah, this is a great movie. I've watched it several times myself.
Yep.
Oh shoot! Well, that's cool that they get in. They have their own books and they like the notepad thing. I've always kind of journaled, not like heavily, but like especially when I go on like big trips, I like to journal. I like to talk about those things because it'd be cool someday to like go back into them and like read about like, oh, that was a cool, interesting thing. But but anyway, so we talked about a little bit about parent, like y'all's sanity, right? How you guys recharge separately. You seclude yourself, Christa, and then you said you like the chaos, Phil. Kind of go back into it. I'm a little bit of both. I do my own social battery recharge. A little bit of both ways. Like Sunday, I haven't had a day where I've just done absolutely nothing. I did absolutely nothing. I watched 3 movies and started like 3 shows. I literally watched TV all day, and I felt like a new man on Monday. I'm back. I'm feeling good. But the question in this parenting sanity, I want to know, like, what's one of the hardest things or hardest parts about RVing with kids that no one really talks about? I mean, you got 2 boys, so we can't really speak for like the girls' side of things, but like, what's something that, like, man, this part kind of sucks, and it's kind of like no one talks about.
So for me, I would say, in this stint of travel, it's been a little bit harder. Like when we were traveling with friends, it wasn't so hard. But when we're traveling without other people, finding time for just her and I to like hang out and connect. Like a lot of the time it's, once the boys get to bed, it's like, okay, let's watch an episode of something and go to sleep, but when we were traveling with friends, there were times where we would watch their kids, or we're parked right next to them. So we'd be like, hey, you guys want to go out this night? And they would go out, and then they'd give us a night where we could go into town and go out to dinner or go, just hang out at a coffee shop or something like that.
Not even that, just like the kids all going outside to play together. So, oh my gosh, we can sit down and like have coffee and like I don't have to have my eyes on them constantly because they're all outside in a group together and you just glance over every now and then. So
that's a huge blessing from traveling with like a community, is like you can actually have those times. Like we'd call them, they'd call us and be like, hey, can the kids come over for a little bit, like just so that I can sit down for 30 minutes and have a coffee? And we'd be like, send them over, and then vice versa the next day. So kind of doing the whole village life together when you travel with people, as opposed to when you go through those stints where you're not with people, it's a little harder to carve out you and her time.
Yeah, that's a good one. I was having a hard time coming up with anything, but yeah, I think that's valid. Yeah, that's true.
Well, on top of that, then what are any like marriage or relationship advice for couples that RV with kids? Because that was kind of a little bit of that, but like,
I would say same thing. Like
carve out time somehow, some way.
Yeah, I don't think that we've got that unlocked yet, to be honest with you, because like you said, I'm a morning person, and there have been times where I've like woken him up and been like, hey, do you want to get up with me? And he's awful. Like he's not one to be up, and he'll get up out, he wants to because he wants that time together, but he's not in the same headspace that I am. And so it's almost like, you know what, go get back in bed. Never mind. Like you're not awake. You're not actually here. Just go back to bed. Never mind. And then on the flip side, in the evening, I'm I'm ready to go to bed by like 9:30, you know? And so it is a struggle sometimes to find that, you know, but we do have, I think, a really good balance of screen time, you know, with the boys, so that I don't mind in certain, you know, like we could do something like this even where it's like, hey, you guys go to your room, watch the Mighty Ducks. We're going to sit in here, chill out, you know, catch up kind of a thing. Yeah, I think that's probably something that we need to work on, that we could be better about, that I don't know is necessarily like harder because we're in a trailer. I mean, it is, you know, smaller square footage. So privacy is like obviously a little bit different, but yeah, I think that's it's important. But we've been in kind of a season where we've been parked on our friend's property, like trying to help them with their baby who came home from the hospital. I think that shifted and uprooted some things for us as well, that we've not really actually put that back into practice very well.
Yeah. It's been a challenging season for that. But I do look back on, you know, what I previously said and said, you know, when people are doing life with you, it makes it a little bit easier, you know. It makes it a little easier to even find 30 minutes to connect and have a full conversation without one of the boys being like, hey, I got to go do this. I got to go do that. Can someone...
I got to go potty.
I got to go potty, Dad, potty. You know, and you're just like,
here he comes.
Okay, you know. So we always talk about, you know, the it takes a village, you know, to raise kids. Yep. He's looking in the mirror right now.
What are you saying? I gotta go potty.
Yep. So perfect timing. I'm talking about it, and there's Miles at the window asking to be taken to go potty. But I would say the community and village raising family dynamic is something that I would highly suggest for anybody doing RV life. Or even if you're, you know, wanting to do it for a month, you know, like traveling with somebody that you can trust with your kids, someone that you could trust, you know, pouring into your family and you pouring into back. I think that's been the most valuable thing. So when we go out with the Grimms or the Boyds and we spend time with these families, you know, there's that family connection where we know it's a safe place, and we kind of look at each other and try to find ways to serve each other, because we know how important it is to parent out of connection and healthiness. And so we try to make those opportunities available for each other.
Absolutely. It's kind of a, like you said, it takes a village. Like I literally grew up in a village in a big sense, right? I knew everybody around me. I grew up, my closest neighbor was a mile away, but the hometown that I went to was 2,500 people or 2,300 people at the time. So like everybody kind of knew everybody some way, shape or fashion, right? Wasn't really a big deal. You know, the idea of, you know, your kid going missing wasn't really as much of a scare where I grew up from, because everybody knew everybody and no one was coming through our town. We were just kind of secluded. But that makes a whole lot of sense, you know, especially for you guys. You can kind of, you know, all right, we'll take them. Y'all go have a good night. Vice versa. You take ours. We'll go have a good night. Because you need that, you know, you said it's easier to be doing life with somebody and your family, but you do have to have that separate time of you, because you still got to date each other, right? That's one thing that I've heard, you know, you can't stop dating after you get married or after you have kids. You have to still, that's part of it. Never stop dating.
And that's always been the biggest thing for us since we've had kids, is like, even when we lived in Tampa, we didn't have any family there, you know? So it was like the few nights that we could actually have friends watch our boys, you know, were so crucial, you know, like when we could actually get those, you know, times. And so the months that we've traveled with friends and having that have felt like healthier months for us as, you know, as a couple and as parents. I think, you know, having that community to be able to be like, even if it's one day in 2 weeks, you know, of traveling together, that one day is really refueling for the rest of, you know, those 2 weeks or whatever.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, how do you kind of mentioned it a couple of different ways. How do you handle the I'm bored moments or the siblings fights? We talked about that. All right. Like, you want to fight? We just got to go like this, or you got to come back together, chill out. But how do you guys handle those situations?
So on board moments, especially with how much Christa does with these boys, and like how much, we intentionally try to do things with them. I'm more so of it's okay to be bored. Like, it's okay for you to like learn how to be content not doing something for a few minutes. So we don't necessarily like jump and to cater the I'm bored moments. If they say they're bored, it's not necessarily that they're actually bored, because I don't think that they really experience boredom. I think it's that they just want to constantly be entertained. And so we sometimes just say, that's okay. We don't need to entertain you right now. You don't need a screen or this or that. Take a moment, hang out, pick up a book, pick up a toy. Like, you have options.
Or the ever frustrating statement that my grandma used to say to me, you don't know what bored is.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's true. That's, something that I'd say to Jonah. Jonah will come in and be like, Dad, I'm so bored. I'm like, you just came back from the park, a bike ride, and in 30 minutes we're supposed to play baseball. Like, what are you talking
You're
about?
not bored, you need a drink of water.
Yeah, you need to go sit down.
Brain needs carbs, buddy.
Yeah. Go get some electrolytes.
Yeah. So we try not to entertain that much, because like I said, she's constantly got activities with them or things that they're doing. And when I tap in, it's kind of similar. So I don't think they've ever actually experienced what boredom is.
And honestly, some of the coolest things they come up with, like, I'm like, okay, you've got Legos, a whole thing of Legos under your bed. You've got thousands of Legos in there. Go and build something. And they always come out with this like crazy thing. I'm like, how did you do that?
Yeah, their creativity is most impressive when he complains about being bored. Yeah. So I'm okay with those moments.
No, very cool. Very cool. So moving on to like some of the must-have things, right? Favorites or surprises. So what are some gadgets or gizmos that like made RVing with kids so much easier? I think you said those tablets probably help out a lot. And then do you have any like game-changing routines, like campfire tradition, a family night? You did mention like a movie night. No, you did mention that like you would play the nostalgia, of Mario Kart. You guys would play that, or like a family meal plan. Where do you guys go? What do you do? So gadgets and gizmos make it easier, and then like any tradition or anything that you guys do to make it all better, I guess.
Yeah. Gadgets, gizmos.
Anything that makes it feel like home. What makes your RV feel like home?
So one of the main things when we had our RV completely renovated was
by Driftless RV Renovators.
Yes, seriously, incredible.
In Wisconsin. Amazing. Yes. Amazing people, did phenomenal work.
Shameless plug to our peeps.
Yeah.
I feel like I've talked to them. Let me see.
They're incredible. If you haven't,
Carrie and RW.
Line them up for an
awesome
episode.
People.
They're incredible.
Yeah.
But when we talked to Driftless, we said one of the things that was a negotiable was
I have talked to him.
That's awesome.
Very
That's
little.
So cool.
Anyway. I haven't got him on, but yeah, I've chatted with him a little bit.
Oh my gosh,
I'm gonna text her when we get off here.
Oh my gosh,
Carrie, I'm texting you as soon as we're off of this.
Oh my gosh, I'm going to talk about how RW built your desk and like.
Oh, stop! That's for a different episode. Anyway, I said one of the non-negotiables was the dining room table, because we've seen a lot of RVs, especially newer ones, where there is no dining room table. It's 2 or 3 leather chairs and a big TV, and then maybe
like an island
with some bar stools. But for us, one thing that was always important in our townhome was a family meal where we can actually just like reconnect or just talk and, you know, be together. And so that for us, whether it's breakfast or dinner, we have at least one family meal together every single day. And that's been, you know, to show just the value and importance of that. And the boys know that that is, you know, our time. Nothing's gonna, you know, compete with that. And so that is one of the major staples. And then I would say the other for us, a gadget that has really been great for us is shout out to the crew at Electric Bikes.
Yes. Oh my God.
They are incredible, and we love bike rides as a family. And so being able to just get on our electric bikes and just like cruise around campgrounds without any sort of agenda except just enjoying being together and enjoying outside, that's always refueling. Like that is always something that we come back from feeling charged up, having a good time. You know, the boys will be on the back of Christa's electric bike and they're like, Dad, get close enough to give me a high five, you know, and like,
And they love that my bike goes faster than his because he's on the electric trike. So they're like, Mom, smoke dad,
yeah, you know, and so we just have such great moments on our electric bike. So for me, that's actually one of the like biggest things that, you know, we've gotten along this journey that has been invaluable to us.
Yeah.
Very nice. Yeah. My mom and I used to do that well, actually our whole family, I grew up on dirt bikes, 4-wheelers, whatever. We've had it all basically. And we used to do that all the time. We just hop on. There'd be a whole rally of us just flying around on the country.
Yeah.
We had four-wheelers and go-karts.
Yeah. You know what the Midwest life is like. You know, you got to make your own fun.
Exactly. Make your own track. Just go over it a few times.
Yep. Oh yeah. Had way too much fun doing all that stuff. It's been great talking to you guys about this, you know, RVing with kids and all that. What is like kind of wrapping it up here? What would be like, whether they're full-time families or not, what are like 3 tips that you would say like, hey, this, if you're RVing with kids, here's 3 tips.
You want to go first?
3 tips. I mean, my first one is get them outside. You know, this is a small space and it's functional and it's enjoyable to be in your home, you know, or your RV, whatever you're in, or for however long you're in it. It should be peaceful. It should be a place that you enjoy being. But get outside, you know, like our brains are not meant to just be in air conditioned 4 walls all day long. Yeah, especially if you're long haul traveling. I would also say like one of the biggest things for us is like we don't do more than like 3 hours or 300 miles any given day. But yeah, get them outside, get yourself outside, go for a walk, go for a hike. Don't have any agenda. Just, you know, maybe go see how many different kinds of leaves you can count, you know, how many different kinds of trees you can find. That's one of my biggest things is like the more time that me and the kids can spend outside is always the best for us. I don't know what else
I would say less is more. And we're continuing to learn that time and time again. Like,
that's a good one.
The more you're keeping up with stuff, the less you're actually enjoying the moments. And even in 325 square feet of space, that can be tempting, you know, to have too much, even after you've downsized from your home. And, you know, like we were talking the other day because she was like, there's always so many dishes. And I was like, why do we have 8 coffee cups?
So many mugs.
Like, why do we have 8 coffee cups when there's 2 of us? And maybe once every 3 or 4 months, a friend has a cup of coffee too. Yeah. Like, instead of us dirtying a coffee mug and putting it in the sink and then just grabbing another one because it's available, now we have 3 coffee cups that need cleaning instead of 1 coffee cup. That's a waste of time, you know, that we could be enjoying RV life. So that one to me is less is more. But also the number one for me would be community. You know, I love this life, but I don't think life has ever been meant to live alone. Yeah. And we're having great family memories, but great family memories don't only need to be with the 4 of us. You know, we're creating such amazing memories when we're traveling with friends as well. And even when you're traveling with people, you can still carve out that time that it's just your family. But it gives you guys that flexibility to do life with others and to experience things differently than you do when it's just you four or five or six or three, however many of you there are. So I would say enjoy the community. But like Christa said, another thing of going out, I would say experience the actual area you're in, like for what it is, because campgrounds are cool, but there's so much life outside of the campgrounds in the areas that you're at, and it's the culture and the history of that place. So the other day, the campground we're at, beautiful, quiet, but they don't really do anything till like Memorial Day, because they're just like, it's our busy time is summer. And we're just like, yeah, but there's a lot of us here right now with nothing to do at the campground. The pool's not even open and it's beautiful out. So we found in this small town of Pine Mountain, Georgia, there was going to be a market. And I said something. She's like, I compared it to the market where we knew in Lakeland. She's like, I don't think it's going to be like that. Like, let's be real. It's a small little town. And we went to the market, and it was awesome. It was so cool. Like, it was so well done. Like, all the local crafts were there, the local food, the local people that pour into the community, the bikers who are there to like reach out to anybody that's, been in abusive relationships. Like, it was just a cool thing to see that town come together and like their pride in their town. But if we didn't leave the campground, we would have never experienced that. So actually experience the neighborhoods that you're a part of when you're camping there, because I think you could be surprised with some of the places that you get to experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you guys have given all sorts of advice. Running around with kids, it's not the easiest thing by no means. And whether you're full time or not, keeping them busy, keeping them included, keeping them, giving them roles, giving them responsibilities while doing so, but also keeping them together or separate, whatever. There's all sorts of things. You guys kind of crush it. The way you guys, this isn't only, if I were to listen to this, I'd take a lot of this stuff outside of just for parenting, not just RVing, right? I mean, you guys, I think you guys are doing a wonderful job. And I think RVing with kids I personally would love to do it for at least a couple of years when I become a father. Fingers crossed, one day. But it would be really cool to do that, because, I mean, you're giving these kids so much more opportunity to see things, getting them more culture, be more well-rounded all in general. They're still going to learn. I mean, kids are, they might not have the exact by the books standard education, but honestly, it's probably opinion might be a better thing.
I
went through it, so I have an idea.
Yeah. Exactly.
And I didn't. I did the whole like school. I did public. I did private. I did paid college education.
Yeah.
And I still feel like this is the right thing, at least for our family, for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And this just the more well-roundedness of RVing, of what RVing can bring, going from meeting people from all over, meeting, being in, like you said, walked into a different town, see the whole culture, see how the pride of the town is. And, you won't find that the same thing in Florida versus, Iowa. You're going to find two totally different types of people, and then two different types of groups or whatever it may be. And the culture is going to be totally different. The food's going to be totally different. The way people actually interact with people is going to be totally different. And if kids are about that, being the sponges that they are, they're going to be totally different and more well-rounded at the end or at the beginning of their adult lives, and they won't even know the difference. We
hope. That's our hope.
That's my opinion, right? And opinions don't always matter, but I appreciate y'all for listening. Well, guys, it's been wonderful talking to you. Is there anything else that you would like to? I mean, actually, I got one more question here for you. This is one of my favorite questions. What's your why? Why did you choose this life, and why do you keep choosing it? And then what's next on top of that?
I'll answer for me. So my why is, after all the surgeries and stuff that I went through, realizing, it's easy to say that life is a vapor, that tomorrow is not promised to you. It's easy to say those things. But for me, it seemed a little more like a reality, like from 27 to 37, writing, and updating a living will twice, before those surgeries, so for me, that was a reality, and so having these moments where I can be present with my family and I can go out and experience the blessings that God has given me, are too valuable to not experience, like building a photography brand that was this, that, and whatever. All that pales in comparison to what we're doing now. And we had that, and so for me, my why is, I've been blessed with extra days, and I'm ecstatic to do them with my family and meeting people on the road and being able to just do life alongside people, and glorify God as I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I think that was the big factor for me too, was, we kept, he has to have routine MRIs, and every single time he's coming up from one of these MRIs, it's, and it all stems from a childhood cancer that he had. So he's had lifelong stuff that happened even before we met. But just recognizing, like, he's running himself into the ground to keep up with this lifestyle that we've built for ourselves. And it was fun. And we I love downtown Tampa. It feels like home, but it was just like, this doesn't feel like this can't be it, this can't be it. And so it was like, we had actually talked about buying an RV shortly after we got married, and just like living life on the road, but that wasn't a thing back in 2010. Not a lot of people were doing that, and it wasn't conducive to, I was working full time. It wasn't conducive to our lifestyle. So I think having been given the freedom, and having walked away from some things that were keeping us in Tampa, it was just kind of like, what, why not? And we talk about this being like our retirement plan. What if you don't make it to retirement age? I mean, that's like just the reality that we had to face, is that, there may come a time where he's not able to travel or isn't here to travel. And that was a pretty big factor for us in choosing, what, these are memories that we want to make. This is a lifestyle that we are interested in, and we want to teach our kids, differently than just the culture of, what's within our own bubble here in Tampa. So why not? Worst case scenario, we do it for a year or two, and then we sell everything, we go back home, and we had a great experience. But I don't think we're stopping in a year or two.
Yeah, no, either do I. I hear a lot of people, when we talk about this life, say maybe when the kids are out and we retire, this, that, and whatever. And I'm like, why? Like, you can always do it again when the kids are out. But I'm
a whole new experience.
Yeah, I'm loving making this experience with the kids. Like, this gives them an experience that I never got to have. Like, I know so many people that are my age that have never been to more than 1 or 2 states in their life. And so
me,
yeah. So I'm like, I don't want to wait. I don't want to wait till the kids are out. I want them. I want some of the best memories that they have to be that we included them in some of the best memories that we made.
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool. One day I wish I could do the same. I mean, I hope I get that chance. I think I have the opportunity right now. I do. I just don't want to do it alone. It's a little different when you're doing it alone, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
So one step at a time. We'll get that other part first. But honestly, guys, it's been absolutely wonderful. It's been wonderful, talking to you guys. And then RVing with kids, it's not always easy, but sounds like it's completely worth it with you guys. With a little prep and a lot of patience, it can be one of the best decisions you and your family make for y'all.
Absolutely.
So
no regrets.
Yeah, no regrets. No regrets. Whatever.
No regrets. Exactly.
Anything else you'd like to share?
No. All I want to say is stay tuned for more from the RV life, RV voice.
RV life.
RV,
Hold on, no. I'm gonna take that back. Don't do that. All I want to say.
he did tap me, and maybe I should. Maybe that was the.
I was trying to give her the finale. So all I want to say correctly is stay tuned for more from the RV voice.
Voice.
Awesome, y'all. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.